Let us explore how elite meditators outperform everyone else. Together, let us relaxingly recite. The Nobel laureate Albert Einstein is said to have quipped, "Any intelligent fool can make things bigger, more complex, and more violent. However, it takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction." In a vast ocean-like throng of rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel fools, there are many who insist that enlightenment is attainable only for the special few, who live in a special place, in a special time, with special companions, and who have received special teachings. From a special teacher, because they're so damn special and we are not. But that is not what the Buddha taught. Real or archetypical, he taught that enlightenment was as simple. Testing? Okay, good. As mastering the Eightfold Path, and that could be done in as little as 7 days. How egalitarian is that? The key to this is the right view that empowers letting go, the 4 points of right love, and the effortless effort of having choices, utterances, and deeds flow from love's centered spontaneity. Is simply the key to this right view, the 4 points of right love, and the effortless effort is simply mindfulness and meditation. For when practiced enthusiastically, sustainably, and effectively, mindfulness and meditation are the spiritual equivalent of a Swiss Army knife. In the golden age of proto-Buddhism, before the folly of institutionalism set in like black mold infesting a cabin in the woods, the only teachings were the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, which contained the essence of all morality, which is loving kindness, or metta. Remember, actively striving to focus upon or analyze loving kindness could produce nothing more than mere analog, pale and flaccid and worthless and weak. For the highest love, spontaneous and uncontrived, is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Yearning to do the loving thing is all well and fine, but how could we know what that right thing is? I'm kind of having some problems with my mouth being rubbery. Please bear with me. What the most kind manner is in which to do it, and when the most kind time is in which it must be done. Centered spontaneity. When our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from the centered spontaneity, which in turn is generated by our practice of mindfulness and meditation, love's kindness is as natural, effortless, and potent as our next breath. For those of us who are keen to devote ourselves to an Ajahn, Roshi, Shifu, or a Lama, our ultimate teacher is simply our mindfulness and meditation. For the sole purpose of the outer teacher is to acquaint us with the inner one, which could be done in but a single sitting. For those who are keen to make offerings, there is no finer object of such gifts than our teacher, who is kind enough to give us instruction and answer our questions. Although optional donations could be lovely, the greatest offering we can make to our teacher is none other than the enthusiastic and sustainable practice of their instructions, whose essence is none other than mindfulness and meditation. For those of us who enthusiastically seek protection from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. Whoops, gonna add something here. Okay, thank you very much for your patience. Together. For those of us who long for the purification of our so-called karmic negativities and their propensities. There is no finer antidote than mindfulness and meditation. For those of us who enthusiastically seek protection from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, there is no greater safety to be had than by passively noticing whatever past, present, or potential dreads spontaneously cartwheel across the metaphoric stage of mind as we effortlessly sit in mindfulness, and then viscerally relax in harmony with meditation's next exhalation. For those of us who are eager to manifest the fulfillment of all mental, interpersonal, physical, and circumstantial needs, we have only but to vulnerably notice the various and sundry desires that could dance like sugar plums in child's dreams as we breathe in, and meditatively relax and release as we breathe out. Recent centuries have seen a rise in the popularity of training in the 3 marks of reality, or tilakkhana. Yet as we sit in mindfulness once every 12 hours or so, we cannot help but automatically notice, recall, or anticipate stress, or dukkha. And as we meditatively relax into our exhalations, we cannot help but viscerally experience how that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel temporary or anicca, and is non-graspable as if they simply were not us, or anatta. Even the tyranny exerted by the 5 mental poisons over our choices, utterances, and deeds is easily tamed through mindfulness and meditation. First, as we meditatively relax into our exhalation, whatever dread we vulnerably noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as mirror-like wisdom. Second, as we meditatively release into our exhalation whatever desire we passively noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as empty as discerning wisdom. Third, as we meditatively relax into our exhalation whatever turmoil we vulnerably noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as all-pervading wisdom. Fourth, as we meditatively release into our exhalation whatever jealousy we randomly noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as void as all-accomplishing wisdom. Fifth, as we meditatively relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we fleetingly noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as equalizing wisdom. Each complex life form upon this big blue marble we call Earth has evolved to be hedonistic at heart. Yet no thing, being, or phenomena could give as much of the could give us as much of the bliss on tap as that which is afforded to us by the easy practice of mindfulness and meditation. Come, let us walk in the Buddha's footsteps, practicing mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time for us to shift gears. It is Luke Skywalker Friday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School, For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's group practice, we're going to hang out with the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. What could that suckiness look like? It could look like Yang's religious or irreligious patriarchy. It could look like us being conditioned to being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. But for those of us, well, let's jump back for a second. So it should come as a little surprise that 90% of meditation teachers will implore us to practice a form of focus and analysis. However, the only part of our brain capable of doing that are the specific discrete neural pathways, such as the medial or dorsolateral prefrontal cortices. Now, overuse of these tissues will exhaust the front part of our brain. It will trigger our amygdala, which is the seat of both anxiety and aggression, pretty much the opposite of being peaceful and loving. Fortunately, neither our prefrontal cortex nor our amygdala constitute the entirety of our central nervous system. We also have a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. And when used properly, they can help us to calm the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala and increase or stimulate the empathy latent within our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy and kindness and compassion and love. You see, every time we inhale, we are already wired by evolution to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, to help us to notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. To help us to notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque, and all of this happening randomly or spontaneously and quite passively. Every time we exhale, we are already wired by evolution to automatically access the parasympathetic nervous system divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to both physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. So let us comfortably sit in a sustainable manner and practice right now. You see, the most efficient way for us to cooperate with our sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous systems is for us to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, as well as silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I check for questions approximately once every 9 minutes or so. Now, yesterday morning, I was only really strong enough to meditate with you for about 10 or 12 minutes. Let's see if I can do it for 45 minutes or so today. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 and a third hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class, as well as group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.